Namaste. Welcome to Stardust Stereo. I'm Parker, I'm your host, and today is the 28th of April, year 2026. Today I'm going to talk about the full moon in Scorpio that happens on Friday. This full moon is at 11 degrees of Scorpio, so we will give it a subclause of Scorpio Pisces. It will take place at 10:23 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That will be 1:23 p.m. if you live on the East Coast. And if you live elsewhere, you will have to do the math. Well, we have a very busy world full of so much Scorpio energy right now. Let's talk about that Scorpio energy. Scorpio is not comfortable in the placement of the moon. Scorpio is a water sign. It's very intense. There are no shades of gray. It's very black and white. Scorpion energy is super passionate, super intense. It goes all out. No ability to decipher between I absolutely adore and love this and it's my obsession versus who are you talking about? In other words, when someone has a placement of the intense sign Scorpio in any planet, there is a very definitive awareness of what one likes and what one dislikes. As one matures, there can be a little bit of gray that trickles in, but not much. They have no doubts about what is right for them and what they gravitate to. And so when we have a full moon in the placement of Scorpio, light is shed on likes and dislikes. And unfortunately, if conflict already is in existence before this full moon, it will continue after it. This full moon does not do anything to dissolve or dissipate its energy force. So we're entering into a short period. It won't last that long. The cycle's not that long. But we're entering into a period in which some closure will come with the writing on the wall. The placement of Scorpio in this moon also indicates that there will be big financial changes happening on a global level, and then on a personal level, it's the perfect time to review your financial needs. Scorpio deals with banking and saving. It is a financial placement. Scorpio tends to hang on more than let go. So investigation of how you can hang on to more of your cha-ching is appropriate. This particular chart of the full moon still has quite a bit of Aries energy. Very specifically, Mercury, the communicator, will be conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, also the maverick of the universe. And they will be at 27 degrees Aries. The Mercury conjunction to Chiron at 27 degrees Aries is extremely innovative. Healing. We need healing. We need healing of our minds that is so saturated with the violence of the world. So this Mercury conjunct Chiron is a elevated North Star, let's say, that we can look on, even as we see the problems and the financial suffering that many are under. You can be extremely resourceful with this Mercury Chiron. And it also helps that the Maverick planet, as Chiron is known, is also a means to do some service with others. One thing that I do find in my own personal life is that when I read of other people's hardships, and there are so many to read of, it puts in perspective whatever challenges I have. Mercury conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, which is also a maverick planet, meaning that it has the capacities to open up boxes and pathways and inventions for healing, real progress made in areas that before might have stayed blocked. This is the potential. I think also very specifically that there could be some advances that are made dealing with fertility, also with any of the reproductive organs. We'll see in the news, they will be popping up. Light will be shed on ways in which we can maybe not beat death, of course, because nobody can beat it. Everybody's got a stamped time. But make the most of our healing to extend it. And this brings me to somebody that I have been reading about in the news that I did not know prior. In the New York Times, they've run a series of conversations with the former Senator Ben Sasse, who's utterly an amazing human being and certainly has one of the most profoundly beautiful and insightful attitudes about having a diagnosis of cancer that is fated to not be curable. His stamp has been given, and he's already outlived it by a month. He was only supposed to live 4 months. He was given that diagnosis in December. He is an absolute inspiration to humanity because of his attitude and his strength. And I do hope he has a miraculous cure. This full moon talks about in the chart miraculous, spontaneous cures, awareness of sudden pathways into healing that had before not worked but now are. Scorpio in general holds secrets. They're very private. When people are born with Sun in Scorpio or have a strong Scorpio in the chart, extremely private people. So with a full moon, however, that said, since a full moon sheds light, we will see some things that are suddenly aware to others. Not necessarily through confidences being broken, but through new factors that reveal what before had been hidden. And that can be healing that suddenly becomes known by one little element that suddenly has been figured out. Scorpio also deals with sexual energy, transformation, inheritances. It deals with investments. In this chart, I see that there will be a significant indication of adjustment to new revelations. So the full moon sheds light on something that before then had been fogged or unseen. Awareness comes, and through that awareness, there is adjustments to the new truth, or the truth that suddenly has been spoken. Maybe it's a truth that's always been known or felt but never said out loud, and then it's said out loud, and everybody adjusts to the new level of what's been known but was not said. Scorpio is very emotional. It's a water sign. It can't be contained very easily. So we can see emotions spill over, especially if one has not acquired the discipline of their own reactions to situations, especially situations that they don't like. It is in a wide square to Pluto. Pluto's currently in Aquarius. Aquarius and Scorpio don't have a lot of common ground. One's air, the other's water. One's completely emotional. The other is very intellectual. When they're in a 90-degree angle, it requires investigation within to be able to dig for rationales to one's current situation. One will very much be prone to getting rid of people, things, or paths that no longer work for you. It'll be really clear. Nope, I'm done. Door closed. Unfortunately, in the lower realms, violence will be over the top. We've already seen a little bit of this with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a little touch of that popping in, and people's reactions. And what was interesting to me was reading a little bit of people's reactions to people's reactions. Man, our world has become very callous and unfriendly and lacking in compassion. So hopefully this full moon can shed light on the ways in which we can heal in order to at least understand how people respond under stress. The full moon occurs on May 1st, and that happens to be May Day. And all I could think when I saw that date was Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. But of course, it's not the French saying of, please come help me. You know, it is Beltane as well, which is the pagan holiday where we celebrate fertility and growth, and the Gaelic festival, which is fun. We like that more than help me, help me, help me. It's also International Workers' Day, and our workers do need help. So it's kind of apropos that our International Workers' Day is on the same day of help me, help me, help me. The interest rate is probably going to be cut in order to shore up banking and investments. This full moon rules sewages, vermin, compost, blood-borne epidemics, Social Security, death penalty, sexual scandals, and earthquakes, because it's an opposition to the sun in Taurus. Unfortunately, there is a very strong indicator of a big earthquake Let me go through some countries that are highlighted that will be in the news. Some are already in the news, some will be in the news even more. Japan, that's the place where I'm thinking the earthquake may manifest, near Japan. The moon will conjunct their Mars. The United Kingdom, England, the moon will oppose their Mars, and today King Charles is having a little talk with the President of the United States. The President of the United States of America will probably be asking him to send warships, and I have a feeling he will say, "Oh, I don't think I can influence that." Israel, this full moon will conjunct their south node and square their Pluto. We're going to see a change at the top. Iran, this moon will be in conjunct to their sun. They are continually going to make adjustments to try to end this war. The moon will conjunct Cuba's moon. So this is a super important full moon for them, dealing with transportation and cultural agreements and ties. Palestine sees the full moon conjunct their Pluto. Unfortunately, they continue to suffer. The USA, this moon, will trine our sun. Somehow, things will go well in this country in some areas. And I think specifically, we're looking at the White House chart, the physical White House, the chart of when the cornerstone of that first exists. The first president entered the White House. It has its own chart. The moon, this full moon, will conjunct that Sun-Neptune midpoint, which means that the continual dreaming of overdoing some fantastic ballroom will probably be green-lighted, since the correspondence dinner went with such a shootout. Vice President Vance has a little highlight in my charts with this particular full moon because it's exactly triggering his sun by a square. There may be a premature baby coming for J.D. Vance and his beautiful Indian wife, Usha. Let's hope it's not too premature, and let's hope that I'm wrong on that one. So use this full moon by getting rid of anything that blocks your growth. This is the time to look within and shine a light on your own resources, because Scorpio is an immensely resourceful placement. That Scorpio moon also is in a wide trine with Jupiter, and that is the hope we're hanging on to. So if you want to intensify anything during this full moon cycle, it's your faith and your humor and your belief in yourself. I'm Parker McPhinney. This is Stardust Stereo. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank my patrons. You know who you are. You are so appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/ParkerMcP. And I want to remind you, you are made of stardust. So go shine.